because it's Clojure time. All right, so actually I think first thing I'm going to do, because I've been playing with the Sphero. Oh, let me show you that real quick. I know it's not Clojure, but let me show you that real quick. Flip over to here. Okay, the tunnel zoom. So, oh, this is one I want to try. This is a Ruby one, Sphero. It's coming. This is an Aaron Patterson's Ruby one. It looks like there's a fork of it. I don't know which one's better. This is the one that's the Sphero site links to.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's got this nice DSL associated with it.
Yeah.
So you can just say Sphero start, tell it where the device is, and then roll 60 forward, keep going 3, roll 60, or 60 right, keep going 3. So I would, I guess, do a square, right? It's going to go 3, 3, 3, and 3. Or this one, roll 0 degrees, speed 125. And then, so this is a circle. So I was going to play, I want to play with that one.
Yeah.
And I forked one that I started playing with too, because I want to demo this on Tuesday. It's coming up Tuesday. I should probably get this figured out. I did test this to see if it would work, and it does. This is examples I forked from.
So
here.
you Bluetooth pair it to your computer, and then you could use like the command line or whatever, or even just write programs like little .py files.
So they've created some examples. I just took them and I made it so that my Bluetooth ID, my MAC address was coming from the environment variable, because I can't really think of a way someone could exploit that, but you never know.
Yeah.
So here, this is the Kolka library. So I've tried this one, and basically it makes the Sphero kind of go in a circle.
Yeah.
And you can adjust it, like how many steps are in that circle, how fast it goes, that kind of thing.
Right. You could probably even program it to like start flashing red when you're going to commit something to Git.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking I could make a Git hook, right? And then, so here's an example. This one is flashing a random color. It's just blinking it. So I could do that and maybe have it like figure out how to make it go backwards and forwards, like a little BB-8 type thing, where it's just like, beep, beep. Well, I wouldn't be making noise, but it'd be like going backwards and forwards and flashing colors and stuff, just based off a Git hook.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. And might not even be as difficult as it may sound. Just trying to like tie into Git and making sure you capture any error messages that may occur, so that way you could cause it to trigger the Sphero.
So, okay. So now I'm curious. Okay, so...
Evening, gentlemen.
Hey, how's it going,
Good
Derek?
evening.
We haven't gotten to Clojure yet. We're looking at the Sphero API.
Oh.
Well, it's someone wrote a module, and we were seeing what kind of Git hooks there are, so that if you... I'm sure there's a post update or something here. So, like, if you commit to a Git repo, then the Sphero would like move around a little bit and flash some colors.
Neat.
Which I'll have to try to see if I can get that working, because that would be really cool.
Yeah, it would.
All right, so yeah, that's this, and I put this. This is my fork of it. I'll go ahead and throw this out here in the notes. If you guys want to look at it, I know you have a Sphero, Jonathan, right?
Yes, I do.
Cool. And Derek, you might have to get one. I got my monitor. Oh, Raspberry Pi is installed successfully. It's got received and installed. Sweet. I think I went overkill on my monitor a little bit, though.
For the Raspberry Pi?
Yeah.
You mean that big, like, 90-inch TV?
I got, like, I don't have the box in here. But it's like a 29-inch monitor for it was the only one they had at Costco. Well, they had one that was even bigger, but I didn't get
Little 6-inch piece of silicone?
a little 6-inch piece of silicone, exactly. But yeah. All right. So Clojure.
Yes.
Yeah.
The important stuff.
The important stuff. Let's see, Derek, you mentioned that you wanted to look at
The core library.
core library. Okay, so that is that at Cognitect or Clojure.org?
Check your links. Chat.
Ha. GitHub. So it's the actual Clojure source.
Yes.
The core library. Oh yeah. Nice. Yeah, let's do a little reading here. This is a lot of reading. Is there a particular place that you know of that would be a good place to start, or do you just want to find a place that seems interesting?
I didn't really have any ideas.
Okay.
What's your favorite core function that you want to look at?
We'll get to the beginning, and then if it gets into something that's not so applicable, then pick something.
All right.
So
Any chance you can increase the size?
yeah, you can definitely do that. I was just looking at it myself. I was like, that's kind of small. Control. Whoa, that's probably a bit much. There you go. How's that?
A
Is that
little
readable?
larger would actually be good.
Larger's good.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. Yeah, that works. Okay, cool. So right off the bat, I think this is interesting here. That on your namespace, you can put doc string basically and tag the author of the Clojure language, Rich Hickey.
Yeah.
And there's Clojure core, so that's the namespace.
Yep.
Any thoughts on what that is doing? Is it just defining a thing that's nothing?
I think so.
Okay.
And I think that there's a way that you can redefine something later.
Okay.
And so I think he's defining it there, and then he's going to redefine it later.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. So this is, I'm thinking some kind of documentation notation. This is what I used here, or what's being used here. It's a it's not. It's a set. What is that with the caret open? Caret curly bracket. Come on, Google.
Metadata.
Oh, how did you search that?
I went to my favorite page for doing such things.
Okay.
Clojure cheat sheet. I just put the link in the,
Okay, let's take a look.
and then I just grabbed through the page.
This is wonderful. It's everything.
And if you click on the function name, it takes you to the official Clojure document for it.
Ooh, I am bookmarking this. And we're going to stick that in. Why doesn't. Oh, there we go. Stick that in the toolbar. There it is. Okay, cool. Okay, so it's. You said it was docstring or no?
Metadata.
Metadata. Okay, and that makes sense because that's what's in there is metadata.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so args list. Oh, so we're
He's defining list.
yeah. He's defining it as a Java class. So this isn't the Java classes. This is defining your core. So this is interesting. So this is almost like he's written the guts of it in Java, and now he's bootstrapping the language into a list.
Yeah.
Okay. List. Creates a new list containing the items. So this is, I guess, this is what is creating the list. Maybe the namespace or some kind of object that contains.
I'm trying to figure out what that dot function does.
Dot, I think, calls out to Java.
Well, I know you can call out to Java using dot and then the name of the function, like the toUpper function. But I'm not used to seeing it in that sense, in the way they've got it there.
Right.
Scratch that. The only place I've seen it is in that document, and I don't know what it does. I agree it's calling out to Java, but I don't know what it's doing at the Java level.
Yeah, totally. Okay, well, how about this? Line. Maybe we can figure it out. So my guess is that if we say def Jonathan Clojure lang persist list creator like that. And I will forget a close paren. Okay, and now if I say Jonathan, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your list. Okay, so that's what that is doing. What if instead we passed it something else?
I mean, there is another way we could go about this.
Okay.
We can try looking through the repo and see where he defines that class.
True. Okay.
Come on, GitHub. You can do it.
What?
My internet's being slow.
Okay. Malformed member expression. Expecting dot target member. Oh, creator. This is the method that's being called on persistent list.
Yeah, persistent list is a class.
So this is, my guess is the dot is like a create instance of object. So if I said def foo dot system string, no, not creator. System.
Creator is a public static I function, if that means anything to you.
Public stat. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So it's probably like it's not a constructor, but you can call it from the class because it's static. It's public, so that means anyone can call it. So it's basically it's like an alternate instantiator,
Okay.
I guess. So it's like an alternate way of creating the class.
Okay. I have zero Java experience, so when you talk in high-level sort of generic type stuff, I get some of it, but
Yeah, it's like a custom dunder in it, but it's not the normal way you would do it in Java.
Yeah.
Kind of. Actually, it would be more like the class open close method in Python, or calling new in. I guess saying calling new in Java doesn't make sense. But it's an alternate way of instantiating that class into an object. Just trying to think of a parallel to do that, but I can't think of a class, public static class in Java off the top of my head. Oh well. Okay, well I think I have a better idea of what that's doing then. Def. Oh, here, cons. Now returns a new sequence where X is the first. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's go back here real quick.
Might as well leave that REPL open.
Yeah, probably. Or not REPL. It is. X sequence turns the rest. It's even formatted the same.
Yeah.
And what if I say... it doesn't work. Okay, so you can get that. You can get this information, at least some of it, from that.
That's also, if you go over to the Clojure Docs webpage, I believe that stuff shows up there too.
Okay. Why isn't it highlighted anywhere?
Oh, speaking of Lisp, I heard NASA uses the REPL, the Lisp REPL, to update their satellites.
Yeah, I saw. I didn't actually read it, but I think I saw an article about that in Wired.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I glanced by a couple of headlines when I was just looking around. After I saw the first one, I was like, really? Like, I knew they used a lot of different languages, but they really, like...
Well, they wanted to use the best language, of course.
They use, like, every language.
Fair enough.
That's got to get so confusing. Like, you go to update the Voyager 1 mission and you forget it's written in assembly.
I mean, maybe for some very specific pieces of it.
Yeah. Like, you write a bunch of Java code and try and send it and you break it.
Okay, so cons calls a function that it defines. I wonder what that...
It's a function star.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. The two matches. I don't know what function star means.
All right, what are the chances this search is going to work? I'm guessing 0.
I doubt it, but...
Your query contains a function that is ignored. Brilliant.
Right.
That's what I was expecting.
And there's stars on a lot of these things.
I believe he actually defines function further down the page. Yeah, line 45, he defines function, fn.
Oh yeah, there it is, huh? That blows my mind. Okay, so my guess is that this is some special syntax that calls out to the Java that's underlying this.
It must be.
Like function is implemented in Java, and that this is just bootstrapping that keyword into the Clojure core.
Yeah, it must be.
That's my guess. Okay, so here it's a static. So it takes a something and a sequence, and then it creates an instance of what's an RT? Thread? Something thread, maybe? Let's see here. The comms class. wonder what that means. Let's ask Google. There it is. Oh. So this is the Java underneath. And of course it defines that. Sequence equals RT dot. Okay, so public.
I found the source code for it.
Okay.
There's not really any comments that explains what it is.
Am I in the right file?
Are you in a file called RT?
I am, but I'm not sure where in this file the actual source code is.
The whole file?
The whole file.
I mean, it's defining a class.
But there's all this other stuff in here.
Yeah.
Static list. But yeah, I guess you're right. It is defining.
Line 32.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah, 32. That's the beginning. You're right. You're right. You're right. Okay, so if we go back here, what is it doing? What is being called? So this one is. What is it?
Maybe we're looking. Maybe we need to scroll down a little. Maybe we're looking too low level.
Yeah, I think we might be. I mean, this is all interesting, but I'm just lost. This seems like some kind of binding class or something. I don't know. Let's scroll down a little. Do you have something you want me to look for?
Well, let's start with let's look at line 91. That looks like something that's reasonable.
Okay, let's do that. 91. Here we go. Second. Same as first, next, x. So next x is. Let's do what is next. Okay, so it's the tail. And okay, so first next is going to get you your second item, which is what this is saying. That's the same as second.
Yep. And in fact, that's how he wrote it.
Yeah, that is exactly how he wrote it. Function. I don't know why this is a static function, but oh, I know why. Because this function you don't need a class instance to be able to operate on this. There's no data involved. You're passing the data in and it's going through and going out. So the function class doesn't need to remember any of that information, so it's static. Static, okay. What am I doing? I'm lost. Okay. So next, first, second. Same as first. First. What does first do? Wouldn't that just give you the same as first?
No.
Would you need something like this?
I don't think you need that second apostrophe, but yeah, I think that's the right idea.
Okay, so it's looking in a nested list, and it gets the first item of a nested list because just first is going to give us 1, 2, 3. And then it does first on that. Okay. I wonder where you'd use that. I mean, I assume there's times when you're going to have nested lists, but
I was doing for Clojure earlier, and I actually ended up using that function. I don't remember what the situation was, but I remember thinking, oh, I actually get to use that.
first. Okay. And first. So this is going to give us... This is going to give us 2, 3? Yes. So it's the next of the first element of a list. And if that list is instead, then it throws an error. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try this, though, real quick. That's interesting. Makes sense, though, because next of nil and first of nil are both nil.
Yeah, whereas next and first of a number throws an error, a type error.
Yeah. So that also means... Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep. Because this is an empty list. And when you try to get next or first from an empty list, you get nil.
Yep.
Okay. And then we're going backwards. This is the same thing, but in reverse, I assume, where you get the first of the next. So this is the same as second? No, this is the... I gotta see this.
Try doing that just on a normal non-nested list. Because I think you're right. That should be the same as second.
What is?
In fact, aren't they defined the same way? Second is first next.
And so is next.
Well, that seems silly.
Maybe these are known Clojure, I mean, not known Lisp functions, so they're just implementing them?
Maybe. Or maybe...
It's the same implementation.
And first was added 1.0, second was added 1.0. I don't know.
I bet that's it, though, that, like, they were trying to be, like one, because there's a bunch of different versions of Lisp, right? So yeah. I bet, like, Common Lisp implemented fnext, whereas, like, newer versions of Lisp, or maybe they thought that second made more sense or something, so they made that one, too?
Maybe.
Something, that's my guess. Who knows? Maybe they just really liked getting the second number. But I doubt it. Next. Okay. That's pretty cool, actually. So if you wanted to just get the first two elements of a list, next.
Yeah.
So then is there a next? Ooh, we got a lot of documentation on this one.
Yeah, then that's calling out to the Java.
Okay, but this is sequence, so this is converting something into a iSequence.
Yeah.
And then you're right, it is calling out to the Java using this RT, which I think it's like some kind of bootstrapping thing that it like interprets Clojure objects into Java or something.
Could be.
Oh, this makes my brain hurt. Instance. Oh, okay. So this is, it takes, so if we did, so if we said instance, Clojure lang, sequence. Ooh. Oh, whoa. What? 1, 2, 3, 4 true. Oh, that's better.
The hell happened there?
I don't know. Okay, so yeah, that's true. And if we were to then say iSequence, false, it's not. But if we were to then sequence the order, it would be. Okay, that makes sense. And if we were to so this should always be true. Because this is returning a class, and that class should always be an instance of that class. Okay. What we got here? Sequence. Return true if X implements iSequence. Okay, that seems straightforward enough.
Considering you just typed it?
Yeah. Returns true if X is a char. Okay, so
Hey, Jonathan, you're awfully quiet. You still there?
Yes, I am.
All right.
that's true. Is this true?
No.
But then string, which is our next function, that's not a string. What that is. Okay. This is neat. I don't generally go for documentation, but because this is reading the code, it's, I don't know, it's keeping my interest more.
Yeah.
Map. Okay, so this is just checking using instance to see if this is an instance of map. Same with vector, which makes sense. Ooh, associate. So associate, if I remember correctly, adds key value pairs to a map.
Yes.
Okay, so this is defining it as. Okay, so this syntax is where you have, what is it called? It chooses which one you're implementing based off of the parameters.
Multiarity?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So if you are passed a map, a key, and a value, then it's just going to run that Java thing.
Yeah.
But if you're passed a map, key, a value, and some stuff, key value sequence,
Sure.
Because it's going to be a vector, right? It's
Yeah.
a vector of
List.
key-value pairs? Or is it a list?
I believe it's a list.
Okay. A list is a sequence. I don't know if vector is a sequence. Oh, let's see.
We now know how to check this.
Yep.
Isn't there just a sequence?
What's that? Oh, you're right. You're right. This is a shorter path. Not a sequence. A sequence. Okay. But this can be converted to a sequence. Or coerced into a sequence? Okay. That explains why vectors behave differently from strings, like when you try to do, what is it, conj?
Yeah.
Okay. So let equal. Okay, so that's doing what it was doing up there.
Yep.
And if we got some other stuff,
Next key.
so this is if you pass more than one, it's going to just gobble them all up two at a time?
Yeah. So if KVS means we're checking to see if KVS is empty. Within that, we're saying if next KVS. So we're removing the first element there, and we're checking to see if that's empty. So those two ifs are checking to see if there's at least two items left in KVS.
Okay.
If there are, we're doing a recursion and calling the function again.
Okay, and we're using n next.
Yep. So we've got first, second, and n next.
That actually makes sense. It's kind of scary.
Otherwise, we're going to throw an error because we've got an odd number, so we don't have a value to associate with the last key.
Yep. And then we return.
So that is that's the else clause for the if KVS. So if KVS is empty, we return the return map that we've built.
Okay. Nice. You with us still, Jonathan?
I am still with you, yes.
Okay. Do you know what this is? Do you understand what this is doing here?
Which one?
The associate.
I do believe so.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Metadata. Semicolons are comments in Clojure, right? So this is kind of the equivalent of star, 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 star.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Although I'm not sure what language you're writing that uses stars.
Yeah, I don't know. Slash star, 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 star.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get really meta here.
No.
He said no.
It didn't work. Why didn't that work?
Meta parentheses.
Oh, maybe I need...
Try calling meta on something else. But yeah, I'm surprised that didn't work.
What if we do it on an instance of an object?
Yeah.
What?
I think this is a time when we acknowledge that there is no man behind the curtain, and we move on.
I don't. Line 1, column 8.
Line 1, column 8.
Is my memory a spreadsheet now? I don't understand.
I have no idea. I'm going to move on like we were told to do by the friendly guide.
Thank goodness we do this with a guide. Because the hangout would have ended right there.
It would have.
Sometimes you just need to say, you know what? I don't think I need to know this right now.
Yeah. Returns an object of the same type and value as object with map M as its metadata. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, yes. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to mess with it. Line 2. Column 8.
Why do I have a feeling you're going to segfault?
There we go. Yes! But that meta. Now when I meta that, now we're getting meta. Yes.
Now, what happens if you go back and do the meta of 1, 2, 3, 4 again?
It's still the same.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. You got to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, still line 1, column 8. I don't understand. What's the difference between line 1 and line 2?
Okay, if this destroys everything, I'm sorry. F. Oh, I can't define it as. Oh well.
So I'm noticing that user equal arrow space is 7 characters, which means that line of code starts on line 1, column 8.
Look at this crafty man.
I think you're right though, because it's still starting there.
Yeah. I don't know. That's weird.
No, I think you're right. Which is interesting, because... So do you think that if we put that into a file and executed it, that it might give us a different line and column information?
Could be. That could be how part of the way it develops, builds the stack trace.
That's true, huh? Because each one is going to... No, then never mind. Okay. We can go down that rabbit hole another time. Def. Private dynamic. Assert valid. Yes, that is definitely the case. SIGs. Oh, and this is using that assert valid fdical thing.
Fdical.
Function decrement long? Maybe?
Looks like function declare to me.
Oh, yeah, that's probably better because decrement does not need all of this code.
Yeah, there's lots of calls out to Java. I would like to skip this.
Okay.
Last, that looks like a nice function.
It's a beautiful short function. Return the last item in a collection in linear time. Ooh, wait. so vectors are collections, not sequences. But so are lists.
Okay. How about maps? Don't you need a squiggle?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yes, they are as well. And so are sets.
Okay.
Okay, so last of a collection in linear time. Oh, what?
So it's a function that has the property that it's static,
Mm-hmm.
that we're calling last internal to the function definition for some reason, that
Right.
takes s. So
Yeah.
if next s, so if you can pull something out of, I'm sorry, if when you pull something out, there's still something left in s.
So this is, they were talking about this, Karen Meyer's talking about this in Live in Clojure, that the reason you don't want to use last if you can avoid it in on lists is that it's going to recur its way all the way through every element in the list till it gets to the last element.
Yeah.
And that's what this is doing.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
And then when there's finally just one left, it spits that out.
That out because it gets to this branch.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how it's using next to look forward rather than actually getting to that next element. It's saying, is my next element doesn't exist. Something I'm going to have to remember.
Yeah, because if there's only one thing left, next s is going to give you the empty list, which is falsy, I believe.
Correct. It's nil. Okay. Return a sequence of all but the last item in a collection in linear time. And this is called but last, which is quickly rising to the top of my favorite function names.
Right behind first.
Yes. Last. Okay, yeah. So that is doing it by doing a loop recur.
So we're defining ret to be the empty vector.
Yeah.
That seems odd, but okay.
I'm confused. What? So loop has a. Okay.
And we're defining ret to be the empty vector, and then we're defining s to be s.
Okay.
So now if next s, so if there's anything left in s, we're going to...
These are default values, right? This and this?
Those are the initial values, yeah.
Initial values, okay.
We're going to recur back to the loop, and we're going to add the first thing of s onto ret, and we're going to leave it off of s.
Okay, okay. So this is going through each item in the list, it's adding it on, and then passing what's left of the list to itself and recurring.
Yep.
until it gets to the end, in which case it doesn't add it on.
Right, when there's one item left.
Yeah.
And it just...
But at this point, we're on the next to last position, which is before that last element gets added on.
Yep. And then we're going to turn it into a sequence, which is why we can start it off as a vector.
Yes. This, I feel like this is going, if I refer back to this, this is going to really help me on foreclosure with some of the stuff I was struggling with.
Yeah.
That the way that they're doing this, because I've had, like, I need to go through a list and do something, but I don't always want to get all the items or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But last. Uh-oh.
I want to say I took a look at the defn definition, and I was not happy.
Well, so defn is the same as defining an anonymous function and then doing a def on it, if I remember correctly.
I think so. I think they're fairly close.
But yeah, I would agree that this is not something that I have any clue what it means.
I'm not saying we couldn't parse it given enough time, but I don't know if I really want to.
Yeah. So is that a macro?
No, it's still a function.
Yeah.
I thought it was a macro, though. I thought I had heard that somewhere.
So if I remember correctly, a macro is, because Clojure is just lists, a macro is a function that generates the data equivalent of a function call, which you can then call.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Okay. Because here, let me do this. So in Clojure, like this returns, that generates the list, right? That does it's actually shorthand for this, right?
Yeah.
But I also I could do this, and that is that same thing that I just entered here. It's just now that it's in data form, it's not being executed.
Right.
But I could also then evaluate that like this, and no, it doesn't like that. Apply? No. I'll be cast
Eval?
to a function.
Try eval.
Okay, eval. Oh, that's right. Apply, you need a function to make it.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it's just executing this thing. And I think, the syntax is different and is probably a little more complicated than this, but the basic idea behind a macro is that the macro will do essentially this, where it creates your list of your function, your code to execute, but it hasn't executed it until, like, it's constructing that code here, obviously more complex than this one. And then that's what gets evaluated.
I think so. My understanding of a macro is it's a function that applies to, that acts on code instead of on data.
Yes, yes. And that's essentially what I'm saying, is that it's generating code as data, which then will get executed at the end.
I mean, if you want, there's a fairly simple macro. Which one of these is... let's go with line 1586.
Okay.
1586?
Yeah.
That's not even halfway through the file, Jonathan.
Oh, yeah, not even close.
Def macro. Okay.
Oh yeah, look at that, the little tiny scroll thing in the...
Oh, this is defining this threading thing.
Yeah.
That is what inverts the functions. This is an interesting form, this thing.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I still don't really, I mean, I can say to myself that it's threading it, meaning it's kind of like if you thought of it as a needle and you pull it through and then it almost turns the functions inside out.
Yeah.
But tell me to use it and I probably couldn't do it.
Well, if we do some coding tonight, I'll make you use one of the threading macros.
Okay. Okay, so let's take a look and see what this is doing. X and form. So you get the first item and everything else.
Yep.
And we start a loop, and it's using the default. It's just looping with these two things, the X and the everything else.
Mm-hmm.
If there is anything else, then this, otherwise return. So if there's not anything else, just return X, whatever that is. If
Yes.
there is something else, then let form. Okay, so then
That's the
take
first item in forms.
Yeah, the first item in forms. I assume this is some function that's actually doing the threading.
Nope. That's another name. He hasn't closed the brackets.
Oh, you're right. The brackets close here.
Yep.
This is still part of the let form.
Mm-hmm.
And it is equivalent to if that first item in the form is a sequence, then add metadata to it, like we saw above with meta. That seems to be chaining it together somehow. That I'm not really sure what it's doing.
Okay, so hold on. With meta, the first argument was the object. So the first argument is that list. So highlight part of that line. Yeah, the list that starts 1, 2, 4 characters before that. So we've got that list.
Mm-hmm.
It does something, and then the metadata is the metadata of form.
So the metadata is important in how these different forms relate to each other.
Yeah, I don't...
Because that looks like it's what's... So if it's a sequence, then we're just manipulating the metadata. If it's not a sequence, then...
We're creating a list that has first the form and then X.
Yeah.
So, but that first... Let's go back to that first one. I'm trying to figure out what that's doing.
This one here?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like what it's doing is it's taking a list, but I don't know what that... Is that a minus sign, a tilde?
Yeah, it's a tilde.
I can't tell what that does. Because it's taking the first thing in form, and then it's applying it to...
Okay, so this is the metadata of the form, and it is putting... It's applying metadata of the form to this list. And the list consists of the first element of the form with some weird tilde thing. Oh, wait. No, this is doing the inside out thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So this is taking X, which was first, sticking it after the first item. Oh, wow. Next form. So this is just reversing the two items and outputting a list that has those two items reversed.
I don't.
What is a twiddle doing?
I don't know, and I also don't understand what that twiddle at is doing. I don't feel like that needs to be there.
It's a function. It's doing something.
Try putting an actual function in there.
Attempting to call the function.
Try just twiddle list.
Unbound function, unquote.
No, no parens. Just twiddle list. Oh, never mind.
Throw arity. See, this is actually doing different functions here. This is unquote, and this is unquote splicing.
Yeah.
What is unquote? Oh yeah, here's twiddle and twiddle, unquote and unquote splicing. Here's what they're doing. It seems to have taken me.
This might be a rabbit hole for another time.
Oh, it's taking the backtick off of here.
So tilde just causes a stack trace to slowly build up.
Yeah, it might as well.
Go. Wait, no, go back. Go back to the code.
To the code?
Yeah. So remember, form is a sequence.
Yes.
But this is our function.
Yes.
Oh. All right. Ba-da-ba.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I think I was on the... Here, hold on. Yes. No. No. But it's doing something with this. So I put the backtick in front of it, right? And it sees it as a list rather than... It's not the same as putting a regular quote here. Actually, it knows its code, just not evaluating it with the backtick.
Yeah, but what it's doing is
For all forms other than symbols, lists, vectors, and maps, backtick x is the same as quote x.
So what this macro does is it takes x and it puts it as the first argument in the function. The next function that's called after it.
Mm-hmm.
So what it's doing in the code is it's taking it's taking the form, which is going to be a function, and then the rest of the arguments. It's putting the function first, then the thing that's being threaded through, and then the rest of the arguments. Where did that 5 come from?
What?
Oh, there's the 5 up there. X.
Oh yeah, it was what 5?
This kind of breaks my mind.
Not it breaks it, just like
So the backtick fully qualifies the first one as a function name.
Yeah. What happens if you have another function in there? So put the backtick in, and then like in between the 3's, put sequence. Huh?
So it knows. And it assumes the cheese is one, but it's user cheese, not Clojure cork cheese, because it doesn't know what the heck it is.
Yep.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it means, but it's interesting. So it's rethreading these, looking up to see what those actually refer to with a fully qualified name.
Right. So go over to let's use some of these so you can actually see how it can be used. So go back to your REPL.
Okay.
Let's do open paren dash greater than, and then let's put let's put a vector like 1, 2, 3. Okay, space, and then sure, and now close it.
That's rewiring it.
Yep.
So that this count goes here.
Yes. Now start it off the same where we're going to thread that 1, 2, 3, but now do an open paren conj 4, 5, 6 close paren, close paren. So now our form is conj 4, 5, 6. And what the macro is doing is it's making conj, then the vector 1, 2, 3, then the 4, 5, 6.
What? Okay, so it's conjoining them. I can see that. I mean, it's making that.
Right.
So it's So is that equivalent to? No, that's equivalent to. That?
Yes. Yep. So now look at the code behind there that you can see.
Yeah.
We've got so in this case form is going to be conj 4, 5, 6.
Yes, and it is a sequence, so it's going here.
Yep. So first form
Is your
is going to
conj.
be conj. Then X is going to be our 1, 2, 3 that we passed in as the first argument.
Holy shit.
And then the next form is going to be the 4, 5, 6.
Whoa. Yeah.
Now you want to add in another step?
Yeah, I want to go like this, and I want to go.
Nope, nope. You need to include, put that in parens. No, the reduce has to be in parens.
I was kidding. You're just throwing parens around everywhere. Oh, hysterical.
Nope, because reduce takes the argument at the end.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
How about count?
So this should come up with 6. It does. And then if we said deck, then it should be 5. And it should be false. Wow.
Now, when would one use this
I
whole
think when you
thing?
start getting crazy nesting, then you can kind of unnest it
Yeah.
with this.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I find the next macro on there tends to be more useful.
This one?
Yeah.
What does this one do?
That one puts X at the end instead of the beginning.
X. Okay, so that would be this.
No. Open paren. Let's
Where?
erase that line. A lot of it's gonna. So open paren, the threading macro. Let's start with. Start with the vector 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's in a different order. Okay.
And then what can we do that, let's do a map. I think map takes, so open paren, map,
Do we want to give it a
let's
function?
do, yeah.
So maybe like
I don't think you want the hashtag there, but yeah, other than that, that looks good.
whoa, what did I do?
I don't know, my screen hasn't updated.
Oh, there we go. I went full screen apparently.
1, 2, 3.
I went full screen like you didn't even know.
I think you're missing a closed paren.
There we go.
Oh, no, not that. Oh, stop that.
Stop what, the stack trace?
What do you...
You should probably type this out correctly then, right?
I have no idea. I'm lost.
Oh, well, all right, slow down because I'm not seeing what you're typing until after you've already hit enter.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, so start by an open...
Just stop
Yes,
typing.
I did something.
Okay. Let's try this again.
Okay.
Let's replace count
Calm down.
with open paren, map, hashtag, open paren, plus 1%. Close paren, close paren, close paren.
Can I try this already? Apparently not, because that worked that time. Why didn't that work up here?
Well, you type something different.
It looks the same.
You didn't have the hashtag in
I
front
was
of
going
the...
to say, you're missing the hashtag.
Oh, I put the hashtag in the wrong place.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Now,
And even here, I put it in the wrong place because I forgot the plus.
now, load that back. Press up to get that back. And inside the very last paren, let's add a space. And then open paren, reduce. How about multiply? No, I just do multiply. Close paren. So now it'll add the 2, 3, 4 list onto the end of reduce and multiply them all together.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So it chunks. It starts here. Normally, this would be at the end here, but because we're doing this threading, it's at the beginning.
Yep.
So it passes these through map. It ends up with 2, 3, 4, and then it passes that through reduce and ends up with 24.
Yep.
That breaks my brain, but it makes sense at the same time.
It also looks... It's easier to follow when you're actually in in a file, because then you can hit you can add a new line in between, and so map will be lined up with the vector 1, 2, 3, and then reduce will be lined up with it, and it makes it visually easier to follow what's going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. This would be the equivalent, right? No.
Move. You've got a double close paren. Get rid of one of those, and move the close paren to the end.
Okay. Yes, because it has to evaluate this first and then that. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah.
I will be back in just a second.
Okay. This is crazy.
Definitely.
I'm glad that Derek knows what he's doing.
Because we would have, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I can follow along when he explains it. But...
we would have wrecked the documentation.
We'd still be trying to figure out that RT thing.
Yeah. Like RT retweet? Is that what they're talking about?
It's totally a retweet.
Clojure retweet reduce map.
That sounds amazing. Retweet. Okay, so while we're waiting, let's go ahead and throw this. Wait a minute. Here, my mic is way down there. Yep.
Oh, it's like you're so far away.
I'm like, I got really quiet, I bet. Did he already put this? Oh, he already put this one in here. So but, we can put this one in there. Oh, no, he's got that in there. He's all over this.
Who?
Derek.
Oh.
He's got all the cool links. Oh, well, I can get this one. Though, I'm curious to see if show notice how that's going to handle that.
You should hook Sphero up to ShowNoter so that every time someone runs ShowNoter, Sphero glows.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
The only problem is I don't know how on God's green earth you would do that.
I need to.
You'd need to like, because Sphero's hooked up to your computer, so your computer would have to be receiving some sort of signal from ShowNoter every time ShowNoter was run.
Correct. Or I would need to have it notify me somehow that I'm subscribed to something, and I get notified.
Like some sort of like Redis pub sub sort of thing.
Exactly. Which is, I guess, not unlike what Twitter's doing, right? When you're doing that, the scraping, and you're just waiting for more links to come in on your Twitter feed.
Right. That. What do they do? He opens up a stream, and.
But I don't want to leave a stream open to ShowNoter 24/7. But maybe I could have it poll every 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, you could do that. You wouldn't want to have a stream open to ShowNoter because that's a security risk.
Yeah.
And in Python, it looked like from the Tweepy code where he opens up the stream or the socket, I think, it didn't look like it was too easy to do. But that's because of the global interpreter lock.
Yeah. So here you go. ShowNoter, give it an API that has the number of times it's been used. You can just query it and it gives you the number of times it's been used. And then I set up a cron job on my side every 15 minutes to pull that API. And if that number changes, then Sphero does a dance.
That sounds like a great idea.
It does sound like a great idea.
It sounds like you're going to be buying more Spheros.
Oh yeah, and I got little LEDs in my Raspberry Pi kit too, so I could have little LED.
Love that.
Okay, we gotta go. We gotta.
So many ideas. I wanted to build that little mini web server out of a couple of Raspberry Pis because they're not too expensive. So you could buy, like 2 or 3.
That's right.
And hook them up, get a little server thing going. Speaking of JSON, I had to explain to people certain reports that this software allows you to generate. You need to then export that report onto your computer, and it exports it in an XML file. So I can't tell you how many people were calling up asking me what an XML file was.
Oh no.
They were like, I open it up and I have no idea what it says. I'm like, don't worry. It's supposed to look like that. It's much, much easier for a programmer to write a program that reads this file if it's set up this way than if it was set up in a Word document.
Yeah.
And they were like, really? I was like, yeah. It's like, everything's associated with a keyword. It really, like, it looks scary. But I was like, but it's really not.
Yeah.
And like, oh, all right, that makes sense.
There we go. How's that look?
Before you delete this. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome. Maybe I'll send them a pull request.
Well, because then other Sphero enthusiasts would be able to tap into that.
Yeah. I could just create a little app that makes a little incrementer like that.
Yeah.
If we don't want to do it on ShowNoter.
If ShowNoter got big, wouldn't he want an API anyway?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would imagine.
I would
That's
imagine.
what I feel like. Most people start turning their programs into an API. I feel like maybe it helps with the load balancing.
Yeah, and it allows your site to interact with other sites without them having to revert to some kind of weird scraping.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Hey, we came up with something genius while you were gone.
Okay.
So show noter, imagine a show noter, we add an API. And all that
Okay.
API call does is it just tells you how many times it's been used, right? It's already tracking that on the front end, but there's no API call. So we add that API call, and then I set up my Sphero on a cron job every 10, 15 minutes to call that API. And when it detects that number of times has been incremented, then it lights up and does a little dance.
Okay. And then Shownoter hits the front page of Hacker News.
And my Sphero is dancing a jig. But it's only happening every 15 minutes, so, not a big deal.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a neat idea.
Thank you. I think that would be a fun project.
Yeah.
The ultimate goal would be to have it in real time.
Yeah, I think that could get a little insane.
If Shownoter like blew up into this big, huge thing, and Sphero just never stopped dancing.
But if you wanted to play with real time, you could do it with like Twitter, hook into the Twitter API, and then
Right.
do something like that.
Yeah.
Well, you could just have Sphero, as soon as it gets a response, send another request to the API.
Yeah. That's true.
But I don't know if you want it to be eating up all your bandwidth like that.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's what I was thinking, like every 15 minutes have a poll.
I mean, even if it was every once a second, you still wouldn't note it. It would still seem real time.
It would still seem real time, because what's the difference between half a second? I mean, there's that much lag in just it communicating with the computer.
Yeah.
That's a fun project. Maybe we can work on something like that, or maybe I just make an app that like it has 2 pages, and once that page loads, it increments an internal counter, and you can do an API call. And that way, whenever you load the page, you can hook it up so Sphero does a little dance when that page is opened, a button is pressed, or something.
And have that page display a live feed of a video camera pointed at Sphero.
Yeah, I like it. Except I'm not crazy about having a live feed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I gotta get some sleep soon because I got a big day tomorrow. But this is fun. I'd like to do this again, and we can even go back into Clojure Core, because there's just a couple more forms in there, maybe 1 or 2.
What?
Okay, maybe
Are you? Okay, you were being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
7,519 lines in that file.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of material to review in there.
And some of it is just straight calls to the Java, which isn't interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But some of it's actually written in Clojure.
Yes.
And it's just using other Clojure, and that's the stuff that I find interesting.
And I think that once you get beyond that core set of Java functions, that you're going to find more and more of those that are, in fact, just written in pure Clojure.
Yeah, probably.
It's interesting. So symbol is a function.
Clearly.
And keyword, okay, no, that's enough for me tonight. But yeah, I definitely want to revisit this. This is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Let me turn off the recording.